Good day, Ross Jason Boehm Live, March the 16th, 2017, Comox Valley Record Paper. Airplane that never existed in this valley for any training shouldn't be here, should be in Victoria, in the Air Museum there. Well, today we're going to talk about mental health, human rights, and prevention of punishment and criminal of genesis, psychological warfare of a human being playing mind games, torture, with the intent to harm, of a common nuisance, always trying to harm other people with psychological destruction, making somebody's life worse than what it should. Article 25, human rights 1 to 30 being violated, manipulating and harming people with a weapon called psychological warfare or malnutrition and everything under the sun. It's not called suicide or assisted suicide when you take somebody's hormones away and you drive them crazy so they can't find jobs, nutrition, or proper adequate lifestyle in society because you premeditatedly ran around a maze, harming them in every situation in life. It's not any type of training because you're not getting paid for the training due to the fact of the labor board says any training you want to give somebody, you have to pay for it. We're not slaves in society, and that's the way it works. You're being cruel. It's unusual treatment and punishment to manipulate and harm somebody for no apparent reason. Discipline. No equal justice system. No fair trials. You haven't proved the reason why you're being harmful to somebody or punishing somebody for a crime if they did one or not. You're being discriminating and racist and discriminating to a human being. We have a revolution by, what was that? The Beatles. A revolution. A rebellion. An uprise of a new order. Gayness, transgenders, the rise and fall of women's rights, gay rights, Aboriginal rights, men's rights, black rights, a revolution, a rebellion, a civil war, with or without weapons of some sort, being chemical, psychological, or physical, knife, sword, chemical, water in the face, anything that hurts another human being. You take somebody's hormones away, you psychologically harm them because they're not natural anymore. It is a weapon. It's not a natural procedure because you use some type of instrument to cause them pain, like taking a knife, driving into them, and watching them bleed to death, or shooting them with a bullet, a sword, a spear, a slap in the head, a kick in the head, and blood coming out of their body and bleeding them to death. Human rights. That's right. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Law 101, isn't that? Intending to harm another human being. Assault. Unlawfully causing bodily harm, common nuisance, act of genesis, killing a member of a group, causing serious bodily harm or mental harm to a member or a group, psychologically harming somebody, a genocide. There you go. Don't know what else to say. That poor girl named Amanda Todd, and that poor girl who was called Caitlin Davison recently in February. A genocide. Psychiatric drugs harming them and fucking up their brains so they couldn't relate in society, or anybody who commits suicide jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge, or any other society. They cannot find a job in society after 2 weeks of not being able to pay, losing all their assets, losing all their funds in their pockets, and can't find food in society or a job to keep going forward because you've made it that way. In a game, an attempt to assassinate somebody by Billy the Kid, why people go postal. It's all out there by trained doctors. And that's right, you're uneducated if you haven't read it. understand it by other doctors saying this is the reason why, that World War II made psychiatric drugs for schizophrenic people to spade, neuter them in mass numbers, as did the Jewish people did in the medieval days of the Black Plague, and so forth. Chemical lobotomies by Dr. Freeman in the United States, and sterilizing people as well, just like a lobotomy. Cruel acts of punishment that are irreversible to kill and harm other people, and many other things they did to gays in the 50s, such as electric shock treatment, castrations, and many more, because they've taken hormones away from a man that psychologically harmed somebody, so it was a weapon created to harm male species in society, and that's all they did. Giving hormones to women called testosterone and made them look and feel more manly. Why did they come up with gynecomastia procedure or breast removal on a male? Is because they put sex change drugs in their bodies and had to figure out how to remove fat from the body afterwards. And they also did come up with cancer research to take some tumors out of the body as well, or what they called a tumor, or a mole, or whatnot. A definition created by other human beings, a human control of what the definition of human rights is, A to Z, different letters, and what the number system is, starting with Roman numerals as well. As they say, as the cookie crumbles, and what dynasty or society was first? The Pharaohs, the Phoenicians, the Romans, the Russians, the Vikings, the Jewish people, or the Africans? Where did humanity really come from? Or the East Indians, or people from India or Pakistania? In the different tribes and different areas of dialects they have, in different areas, different provinces within a country that is one country still. Just like Africa has many different states and all different cousins and family members. Just like the tribes of North America, are they all related? From south to north. And every white person too. They're all white and they just speak different languages. What makes them different? Their jaw lines, their bone structure, their eye color, their hair color, their nose, how much hair they have on their face. Like I said, pigmentation. We're all from Earth. We're all Aboriginals of North America. We're all dumb fuckers, retarded, and cocksuckers if we don't understand and can listen to another person, and are not educated teachers, doctors, lawyers, if we don't know how to listen to another human being. Or are we a parent? Are we? Compassion. To listen, to understand, and see another point of view. That, yep, that is a one-way street for a reason. We can't have somebody driving up the other way. This is why we have two-way streets. You cross the medium, then you become a nuisance and a road hazard. If you can't see perspective of distance between the curb and in front of you 10 feet, like the late old lady that was 70-year-old driving a car and bumping into a vehicle that was 6 feet behind her and had 10 feet in front and should lose her license as well in the back parking lot. You shouldn't be driving. A road hazard. Might hit some kid driving down the street. Anyhow, common sense of laws and regulations made for hundreds of years, not let a couple thousand plus. That's why 125 years, women's rights, equal rights, and all we have come up with is a Declaration of Human Rights so everybody has a better understanding right around the world, not just in the British realm. There you go. Psychological manipulation is a warfare and is a criminal weapon when intending to harm somebody in today's modern day society of Star Trek, to live in a fair system, to be able to find a job, not to live throughout history repeating itself over and over again and bringing harm to somebody for no apparent reason. They don't want you born at birth, then you become a stillborn. And that's the way it works. We're all born with 10 and 10 feet. Then later on in life, we learn to speak and be part of society only by what we are told and learned by. If you ain't given the same opportunities, you won't develop the same way or have the same food and nutrition and medical treatments as well. Or not. Drugs that stop the brain from working or working properly. Just like to procreate, to have the right hormone levels in the body. Human control and trafficking. Making somebody have more or less than another person. The story of Atlantis, all were equal, or were they?